Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. It depends on what part of the world you will be. I'm Ramiro Amarelle. This is Beach Soccer Talks number 16. It's a pleasure for me, an honor to be here again, working with collaboration, cooperation on the development of the sport. Today, we have an amazing matters to analyze, and for that very specific ones, because we will go deep on specific contents of the game, of the preparation of the game, physical conditioning and prevention injuries. And we will have two amazing guests with us, two persons capable, with knowledge, with experience, and with two of the best national teams in the world, representing Brazil and representing Japan. And for us, it's a big honor to have with us to the responsible of the physical preparation of the national team of Japan, Mr. Atsu. Welcome. Good morning, good afternoon for you, good evening. Good to see you. And also we will have with us to Fabio Costa from national team of Brazil. It's also a pleasure and we are very honored to have you here with us. Fabio, bom dia para você, eu acho. Bem-vindo, obrigado por estar conosco hoje também. Okay. Ainda não conectou. Okay, he's not ready yet, no worry. Then we will start to talk with Atsu. His degree sports science, and also have been working with the national team of Japan since a lot of years, taking care about the physical preparation of them, taking care about the prevention, injury prevention programs, and also from the recovering phases. I know I have a few comments from you also from some of your players that you help them a lot. Not only on the improving their physical condition, but more important also, you help them to recovery after a huge injuries. Then also it will be for us an amazing pleasure to listen to you and to learn with you. And we will try to pay attention on all the ties you will show and you will try to explain. Please, be ready when you want. We are happy to listen to you. Welcome. Ready? Can you hear me, Atsu?
Yeah, Ramiro, are you gonna introduce Fabio first, or?
He was not ready. I don't know. Wait for him. He will talk later. Okay.
Okay. Let me change the slide to the next one. Okay. Let me hold on if I have a control. Okay. Okay. So Ramiro, let me start. Okay.
Ready.
Okay. First, thank you for giving me the opportunity to talk about the beach soccer physical aspect here at the Beach Soccer Talks. And I'm so happy to present the information as a Japanese physical coach. And
1 minute, Atsu. Fabio just joined us. One minute.
Okay.
Present Fabio again.
Okay.
Fabio, bom dia.
Bom dia.
Como está?
Tudo bem.
Bem-vindo.
Tudo bem, tudo certo.
Muito obrigado. Todos estamos bem. É um prazer ter você conosco, ok? Muito obrigado pela sua aportação, pela sua disponibilidade. Já apresentei um pouco você para nós. Vocês são referências no mundo. A comunidade do Beach Soccer está muito feliz de poder contar com profissionais como vocês. Só queria dar bem-vinda a você. Deixe que traduzca para o inglês de novo. Well, here's Fabio with us. It is a big honor for us to have him with us. Also Atsu, I'll talk first about him. Both of them are degree students and are involved on beach soccer since many years. They have a huge experience, as you saw on the slides, with the national teams and with local programs also. Here we have the curriculum of Fabio, but more than that, I think they are an amazing, capable professionals. And this is the kind of persons we are lucky to have with us on the sport. And they, for sure, are the key points of the development of the sport. Then they will show us and they will help us to learn. They will help us to understand better all aspects around the physical condition. Then I am very proud to lead this talk, and really I'm excited to listen to you guys. It will be a pleasure, and thanks again, both of you. Okay? Fábio, muito obrigado. Vamos começar com o Atsu e aí depois vamos interatuando todos, ok?
Ok, obrigado a vocês.
Go Atsu, sorry, go
Okay,
ahead.
so
Thank
no,
you.
it's okay. Let me start over again, okay? Let me change to the next slide. Okay, let me talk about the table of contents. Today, we want to talk about two main things. First one is physical preparation, and the second one is injury prevention. And we will finish with the presentation, the question and answer. Okay, here's a physical preparation. The first topic. It takes a little time to change. Okay, here's a 9 athlete component that we want to talk at first. When we implement the physical training, we must consider some components. Actually, we have 9 athlete components that we need to consider, and here are some details about them. And I and Fabio will talk each detail for each component. Okay, the first is power. Power is the ability to produce force in a brief amount of time, such as vertical jump. And the next one is strength. Strength is the ability to produce maximal force. And third is speed. Speed is a forward, backward, and lateral positions. And here's an example of the power. So this goalkeeper is jumping to the ball, and he's a power. Okay, Fabio, you can start to explain now.
Ok, nós temos aí, eu faço um trabalho de preparação física personalizada para alguns atletas da seleção brasileira e de algumas outras equipes, enquanto eles estão fora de temporada. Nós temos aí o Catarino, que é um atleta bem conhecido.
Fabio, você
Sim.
explica assim eu traduzco, ok?
Sim.
Fabio's playing the videos and he's going to explain the exercises, but the main thing, the first thing, is that he talk about the individual preparation. He take care about some Brazilian national team players and other foreigners also. Vai lá.
Ok, nesse tipo de trabalho nós temos tanto trabalho de potência, né, com saltos, potência vertical, né, como o Atsu acabou de falar. Temos mudança de direção, ok? Velocidade e força, né? Potência nada mais é do que o trabalho de força com velocidade. Por mais que a bola esteja ali só para mudança de direção, é sempre importante ter a presença da bola durante qualquer tipo de trabalho.
Okay. He tried to explain how he combined the different movements on the sun, taking care about the power, agility, and speed. And he's also tried always, or most of the times, as we can see in the video, to combine the physical movements and the requirements of the competition with the ball actions. Bom, vai lá.
Uma coisa importante, nós temos que treinar de forma específica. Um dos princípios de treinamento desportivo é o princípio da especificidade, ser específico. Treinar movimentos que acontecem no jogo. E essa é uma das
And
características do meu trabalho.
displaying also how important it is, as one of the key points of the physical preparation is to run it with the most specific, on the most specific way. Then you try to get actions from the game and apply on the specific movements with and without the ball. Voilà.
Ok.
Go Atsu.
Okay, let me change to the next slide. Okay, the next one is agility. Agility is the ability to stop and change direction quickly. And coordination is how well joints manage the muscle firing patterns between or among them. And quickness involves reaction time and movement time in response to a specific stimulus or set of stimulus. And this is actually the warm-up stage, but those players are using some coordination, some agility program to warm up their body. And I think Fabio can explain the next video.
Nos próximos vídeos, nós podemos ver tanto exercícios na escada de coordenação, como também vamos ver exercícios utilizando cones.
He will show the videos and we will see different movements of the players on the coordination stairs and also with using cones on the left and the right side.
É importante a presença da bola, né? Vocês podem observar que sempre ao final do estímulo que eu peço ao atleta, sempre ele vai executar um gesto técnico.
Okay. Also, Fabio again repeat the important action with the ball for all the players. And after any requirement regarding coordination, regarding motricity, we will try to apply the ball action for the players.
É importante trabalho de coordenação na escada. Eu sempre faço trabalho de coordenação na escada e nos cones. O início do treinamento eu sempre faço esse tipo de exercício, porque é algo que temos que estar estimulando e desenvolvendo sempre nos atletas.
Fabio used it with their experienced teams. They used to develop the stairs coordination and the cones also regarding motricity in all his sessions on the beginning of that ones. Fabio, quanto tempo mais ou menos você se investe nesse trabalho coordenativo, preventivo do treino?
No meu tipo de trabalho, sempre tem no aquecimento, e dependendo do que eu combino com o Gilberto, meu aquecimento é sempre em torno de 15 a 20 minutos, em que eu desenvolvo sempre trabalhos técnicos e trabalhos de coordenação ou agilidade.
Okay. I asked Fabio about how much time he invests on this part of the training, how much time he invests daily, and he talked about 15-20 minutes in general, warm up, and he will add the actions like technical ones and coordinative ones. Go ahead again.
Ramiro, uma coisa importante, no final dos exercícios aí de coordenação e agilidade, eu sempre coloco um gesto técnico, mas muitas vezes faz o exercício de coordenação na escada, faz um estímulo de velocidade e aí faz um gesto técnico. Porque é importante estar colocando estímulos de velocidade e agilidade o tempo todo, que nada mais é do que a realidade do esporte.
Okay, trying to apply for the reality of the sport. He used to work on coordination, agility, and speed exercises, adding the ball at the end, like we commented before.
Uma coisa que eu gosto muito de falar é o seguinte, em inglês nós chamamos até de COD, C-O-D, né? Change of Direction, que seria agilidade, né? Trocar de direção. Por exemplo, vamos dizer que nós tenhamos um trabalho de cones cone número 1, cone número 2, cone número 3, cone número 4 e cone número 5, em que eu dou a informação para um atleta: olha, você corre no cone 1, depois você corre no cone 3, depois você corre no cone 2, depois você corre no cone 4. Isso é diferente. Isso é diferente de eu chegar para um atleta e passar um comando sempre que ele estiver chegando no cone. Por exemplo, eu faço 2. Quando ele estiver chegando no cone 2, aí ele vai ter a informação do próximo cone, 5. Quando ele estiver chegando no cone 5, aí ele vai ter a informação, 3. Isso pode ser feito com cores também, de maneira diferente.
Okay. Continuing talking about the importance of the motility, coordination, and agility and speed. Also comment before how important could be the change of reaction movements. And also Fabio worked on that aspect and focused on that. Then he had also the kind of trainings, exercise drills he prepared in order to understand the importance to not give all information to the players at the beginning in the same moment. Wait the right moment to increase the level or uncertainty during the exercise and during the movements for the players. Then you can remain the player with a good mentality and good activation in order to react according to the visual or auditive instructions he could get from coaches or other aspects the coach could manage. Alguma coisa mais?
Complementando essa informação, essa é a realidade do esporte. Por exemplo, se eu tenho a seleção brasileira, Bruno Xavier, Catarino, Datinha e Rodrigo. Quando a bola chega no Bruno Xavier, se o marcador vai até o Bruno Xavier, ele não sabe se o Bruno Xavier vai dar no Datinha, vai passar a bola para o Rodrigo, vai passar a bola para o Catarino. Ele só tem essa informação de trocar, de reagir, trocar de direção, quando o Bruno Xavier toma a atitude. Ou seja, a tomada de decisão é logo após a tomada de decisão do jogador brasileiro. Por isso é importante colocar essa informação bem próximo à mudança de direção.
The kind of situations Fabio is talking about is regarding the game and match situations, because the players must be available always to understand what happened on the field to get their own decisions. And after, based on the decisions and the actions of the opponents, your teammate will do something or another thing. Then you, as a teammate, you have to react to that, understand that situation, and get your own decision again. And these are the situations we need to provoke with the changing directions, movements, according several different and uncertain sensations or perceptions of the players.
Por mais que pareça o mesmo tipo de exercício, o mesmo tipo de trabalho, não é o mesmo, é totalmente diferente.
Different kind of works, obviously, because the perception of the players is the key point on that aspect. Okay. Atsu,
Okay.
Again?
Okay, let me go on the next slide. Usually takes some time, no, to change the
Yeah,
okay.
We need some time to get the slides. No worry.
Okay, the flexibility is the ability to move the joint in the needed range of motion demanded by the sports. And the next one is the local muscular endurance, is the ability to perform repeated muscular action. And finally is cardiovascular aerobic capacity and endurance. It actually involves with the health of bodily function and increase the overall physiological function.
Don't worry.
Okay.
Don't worry. The slides need time. Don't worry to change them. No worry. People can understand the concepts. We need to learn about the concepts and give us time. Don't worry.
Yeah, that's a part of the game, huh? Okay, this is an example of the flexibility as well. Those players stretching the adductors, also the calf, the calf, some calf muscle and hamstring muscle. And for the beach soccer players, especially for the hip area, is so important because tight hip muscle is causes some injury, and also the not the enhancing performance because they have to use a hip muscle in order to move and quickly use a power. So they have to have good range of motion of the hip area.
One question I would like to ask both of you, to both of you. You know the tendencies actually talking about stretching. There are a lot of theories that ran before and now new tendencies talking about the right moments, the kind of exercises. What is your experience? We'll start with Atsu and after we go to Fabio about that. I think a lot of aspects influence on that. The experience of the players, the time have been working on that, the routines of them. But what is your point of view regarding the flexibility, stretching before, during, and after sessions? Please, also, if you can give us some of your thoughts and point of view regarding the situation with your obviously experience.
Okay, I mean, basically, there's a two type of the stretching. The one is a static stretching. The stretching that we hold the same position for, let's say 15 or 20 seconds. Okay. That we actually use after the activity. Let's say you finish a practice, you finish a game, and you wanna calm down your body temperature, and you wanna stretching your tight muscle, and that's a case we use a static stretching. And then there's another stretching method is a dynamic stretching, which, for the shoulder stretching, let's say we hold this for, 15, 20 seconds. But the dynamic stretching, we hold and kind of move. We hold, it's kind of move. So we actually use some activity like, similar to the, regular some activity, that we use for the beach soccer. And that kind of stretching we use before any activity. So that would be good for the dynamic, the warm-up session.
Good. Thank you, Fabio. Eu falei para ele, para saber um pouco, a gente compreender que há muitas tendências do alongamento que já foram passando, agora chegam novas concorrências aí, e então as investigações continuam. Eu acho que o mundo é muito grande, muito diferente, todos temos culturas diferentes, é bom para compreender todos quanto tempo vocês investem, segundo a sua experiência com os grupos. Eu sei que é diferente, zonas de frio, zonas de calor, jogadores mais experientes, jogadores mais novos. Que aspectos o Atsu comentou um pouco acerca disso, dos alongamentos estáticos, aqueles para afinar um pouco mais longos, aqueles dinâmicos que eles usam muito. Aí, o que você acha nesse termo, o que poderia aí comentar, sobretudo para a gente compreender a sua experiência? Obrigado.
Vou falar um pouco da minha experiência. Eu já estou no beach soccer há 12 anos. E quando eu comecei no beach soccer, estou profissionalmente, né? Quando eu comecei no beach soccer, se fazia muito alongamento estático antes da atividade, né? Só que isso mudou com o tempo, né? Hoje já é provado que se você fizer o alongamento estático por um determinado tempo, você pode perder eficiência na força, na produção de força. Então, eu faço aquecimento tanto para jogo quanto para treinamento baseado no que eu chamo de aquecimento articular, ativação muscular, que é a reprodução de movimentos do jogo durante o aquecimento. E eu alterno esse tipo de movimento com trabalhos técnicos, com bola, durante o aquecimento.
Tempo. Deixa eu traduzir. Time. My time, please. I need to translate. I forgot everything. Okay. And he talked about how the sport changed since he joined the sport, and how the physical condition and the preparation improves, and how we are learning. Today we will do it more. Then he talked about the statics, stretchings done on the past. It's usual to see a lot of people, teams, clubs, players doing static stretchings at the beginning. As Atsu comments, is not good, it's recommended to do it at the end. Why? Because it reduces the performance of the players. Several studies talk about that. Okay, then the dynamic ones will be very helpful. And he talked also, Fabio is talking about the mobility and the articular activation. He do on the first part of the training with the dynamic stretchings also, trying to add once again the ball and the final part of this session. Siga, Fábio, continua, desculpa.
Se você for pegar um vídeo, outro dia eu estava vendo isso, um vídeo do aquecimento, quando eu era preparador físico lá do Vasco, em 2011, do Mundial de Clubes, é totalmente de um vídeo de um aquecimento que eu dou hoje, 10 anos depois, né? Porque a ciência mudou, a ciência está cada vez mais presente no esporte, né? Isso é uma realidade. E a ciência veio para ajudar o futebol, o beach soccer, de maneira geral. Esse aquecimento articular, esse trabalho de mobilidade é muito importante, tá? Para preparar o atleta para um treinamento. Quanto tempo, uma pergunta que você pode me fazer, Fábio, quanto tempo você faz de aquecimento para um jogo? Com aquecimento articular, com trabalho técnico, tudo, leva cerca aí de 12 minutos, 12 a 15 minutos. Por que 12 a 15 minutos? Porque é o tempo de um tempo do jogo. Inclusive, né, falando um pouco do meu trabalho físico de maneira geral, eu faço sempre blocos. Se eu for, por exemplo, se o Gilberto falasse, Fábio, hoje é só trabalho, se na nossa programação tiver, hoje é só trabalho físico técnico, só com preparador físico. Eu vou dividir em o treino, aquecimento, mais 3 blocos de 15 a 18 minutos, porque é mais ou menos o tempo que dura cada tempo de jogo, e o intervalo entre esses blocos é de 3 minutos, porque é o tempo de intervalo entre os tempos. Ou seja, se aproximando do que eu falei, especificidade do jogo.
Okay, talking, I will begin with the last comment here, in order to everybody understand. All these kind of jobs and exercises and preparation is orientated to the specificity of the sport. Then he talk about the evolution of the game, evolution of the science on the last 10 years. He talked about himself. He did a very different job. I suppose with us will be the same, because you did a different job 10 years ago than right now. And you are the same persons with the same studies, but the science improved. The science and the investigations go deep and change concepts. Then the professionals need to adapt on that. Then they talk about the mobility. He talked about also, Fabio talked about the mobility, how important it is to help the players, as Atsu said before, to be ready for the requirements, physical, technical, and tactical, of the main part of the session and of the rest of the session. Also talk, Fabio, about the time duration of these parts of the training. He tried to adapt everything, all his jobs, exercises, on the time of the beach soccer, each part of the beach soccer, and about between 12 and 15 minutes. And also he take care about the recovery time according to the real recovery time of the official competitions. That's all. Atsu, go ahead. Thank you, Fabio.
Okay, please move to the next slide. Okay, although every 9 athlete components are essential for beach soccer physical training, I think 3 components are especially vital for our sports. The first slide is show the strength and power, and I would say especially core and hip area. The surface of the beach soccer is unstable, because of the sand. So the foot is actually slippery. Foot slippage will often happen. So we need to use our core and hip muscle to generate strength and power instead. And the example of the strength and power would be the physical contact, and shooting, and the bicycle kicks, and sprinting. And in 2017, the Japanese beach soccer national team we took some physical measurement, such as a 1 minute push-up and a 1 minute sit-ups and a standing long jump to measure fundamental strength and power. And the number of the slide is average record. Since Japanese beach soccer players are so busy training, and also they have to work. So I made some simple tests to try on the field. Okay, please move to the next slide. And this is the example of the power and the strength. Okay, the next slide shows the cardiovascular aerobic capacity and endurance. And since beach soccer players need to repeat sprints and recovery between substitutions, they must have the good cardiovascular ability. And players often increase their heart rate by more than 90% maximum heart rate while they're playing. So practice drills need to consider such aspect to be ready for the match. And last year in 2020, we Japanese beach soccer national team took the 300-meter shuttle run. So we put the cone between 30 meters, and they go the 5 laps of each cone. The average time was 69 seconds. Okay, we can move to the next slide. Okay, there is not much previous research for beach soccer actually, and physical testing is one of them that we need to investigate more to measure the sand's performance. I want to share one research on how the surface, such as sand and firm, influence performance. This study compares the performance on the sand and a firm surface, and it talks about both male, female beach soccer players' physical abilities. They implemented the performance tests, such as sprint over 5 and 15 meters, standing long jump, and a yo-yo intermittent recovery level 1 test. Okay, we can move to the next slide. Okay, what they found was 5-meter sprint and a yo-yo IR1 performance on the sand did not correlate to performance on the firm surface. Next one is a 50-meter sprint and a standing long jump performance on the sand and a firm surface was correlated. And the performance in 15-meter sprint and the maximum sprinting speed was moderately lower in male players aged above 30 years than players aged below 30 years. And the last one is weight-bearing power-based performance mass was moderate to very largely higher in male players than in female players. And then what they conclude was the lack of consistent relationship between performance on the sand and firm surface. And they suggest, and also they emphasize that they need to implement the testing batteries for specific for the beach soccer. Okay, we can move to the next slide.
It is also important. There is also important, sorry, also to remember
no, it's okay.
that these studies you have done, people have to understand that as people use it to play on the beach, then this is the most important thing for us. The players, the persons involved on the study, they are adapted to the run on the sand. That is also happen most of the times in any study could run in Brazil or any other country with that kind of characteristics. Remember that a lot of countries around the world, a lot of players around the world, they are really not adapted 100% to run on sand. And this is one aspect we need to take in consideration. This is aspects you manage, obviously, and you are used to work with professionals, players that are used to play and train on the beach weekly. And it's much easier and much related and specific, as Fabio commented before. Then Obviously, your studies and your investigations show us that your conclusion is very interesting and very clear. We need to create and test the specific test for beach soccer and beach soccer players also. And thanks again. Go ahead.
Ramiro, actually, before, looking at this research, I was, looking all the papers from soccer, the futsal, and then, try to apply those, the knowledge and those skills to the beach soccer. But somehow, sometimes it's not working, sometimes it's working. So I was wondering, but this research showed that, like you said, specific to the testing batteries for beach soccer, that's very important, for us. All right, thank you.
Sure. Completely agree. Thank you.
Okay, we can move to the next slide. Okay, again, this is a review for the 9 athlete components. And basically, every component is so important to train. But today we just pick up with 3 main things, which is the strength and power and cardiovascular ability. So we can emphasize those 3 components to try to create the good, high quality beach soccer, physical training program, so that the players can maximize their potential, and also that we can hope that they can decrease the chance of the injury as well. Okay, we can move to the next slide. Okay, here's a way that I think the physical preparation should be. I usually put the level 1, 2, 3 and a game level, so we can kind of follow the step to be ready for the game level. The level 1 is something that we can do at the gym or sand. For example, the core exercise, lifting the weight, and a mobility program to injury prevention. And the level 2 is something that we can do on the sand. As Fabio showed, great video of the agility drill, that's a great example that we can do on the level 2. And of course, we can use the ball, to incorporate the actual movement of the beach soccer. And the level 3 is something that I let the head coach implement during practice drills. So if they want to focus on some cardiovascular aspect, I encourage them to target more than 90% of the player's maximum heart rate. So that means that they actually can, practice drill at the same time they can work on the cardio, as a cardio exercise. And then finally, they can be ready for the game level. Okay, we can move to the next slide. Okay, this player is, I think, getting ready for the play the game. Okay, the injury prevention, the next main topic that we are talking about. Okay, we can go to the next slide. Okay, I took one research about the beach soccer specific injury record. And then this research talking about the Japanese national championship, the record of injury in 2013 and 2014. And during the tournament, there are 58 injuries with 54 matches. And only 4 injuries with 30 days of time loss, which is 7.4%. Okay, we can go to the next slide. Okay, before talking about these numbers, let me explain this. To prevent injuries, it is so important to know what kind of injury beach soccer has, so we can prepare. We can be ready for the injury prevention program. And this research showed that during this tournament, the number 1 body part is foot and toe. This is so obvious for the beach soccer. And injury type, will be the contusion. This is 60% is absolutely, I mean, we see many contusion, during the matches. And this is interesting, timing of injury is that we have many injury in a second period. I don't know why they don't explain, but maybe, I don't know, maybe intensity of the game is getting higher, maybe. I would like to ask the Ramiro, later on.
No, I think it's obviously we have only this study, and it was from a specific moment from the beginning of the sport in Japan, also to 2013-14. Probably we have to check and compare with other statistics from other leagues of other national leagues in order to take a final conclusions. I'm sure if we look for this kind of research currently, I don't know if it could be on the second period, because repetitions of the efforts as you comment before provoke that the player will be more tired, obviously, at the end of the match and the third period means. And now, currently, with your jobs, obviously, with your work with the players, the preparation of the players are much better than current. I talk always about that. Everyone wants and loves to compare players from the old ages and currently. And I say, we cannot compare the preparation of the players right now. They are athletes. They are professionals. Why? Because they have good professionals on back. Then it's amazing how they are ready to suffer, to face the requirements of the competition. Then before we have more individual preparation and less matches, less prevention injuries programs, then it's normal could happen that you can injury before. Right now, I am sure we will have less injuries regarding muscles and regarding the efforts of the body or requirements of the sport, and it will be on the end of the matches, I am sure, not on half. But years ago, yes, our preparation was not good as today's, obviously, with your jobs. Fabio, ele perguntava um pouco a ideia que podíamos ter nós, não sei a sua experiência aí com o grupo da seleção, já principalmente também com ele do Vasco, que trabalham mais neste conceito das lesões, de um momento no que se produzem, o tipo de lesões que se produzem, um pouco para saber e comparar por que se podia dar esse fato do 50% no segundo período. Eu falei também muito da evolução que tuvo o esporte e a preparação física. Pelo tanto, hoje já são muito mais atletas do que éramos antes. A evolução, que você falou também, né? Então, já eu creio que vai se retrasar bastante mais na duração do jogo. A aparição das lesões vão ser menos e vão ser mais tardias, porque o jogador está muito mais preparado. Esse é o meu ponto de vista desde fora. Aí você já fala com mais conhecimento.
O que eu tenho a falar sobre lesões. Eu estou indo para o meu 8º ano na seleção brasileira e já estou no Vasco há 10 anos. Em nenhum dos casos eu tive lesão muscular por todas as minhas contusões ou lesões, tanto na seleção quanto no Vasco, tá? No próprio Catania, né, na Itália, que eu trabalhei durante 3 meses, eu invisto muito nessa parte de prevenção de lesões. E eu não tive todas as lesões que tiveram foram por choque, trauma de um jogador, por choque de jogo. Entendeu?
Sim, contusão. Sim, óbvio. He has working on beach soccer, obviously, 18 years more or less with national team and with also Basco and several experiences also, as we saw before, Russia and Italy. And during all that period of time, he never see other kind of injuries not related with contusions, and all of them coming from contusions. Obviously, then we are talking with 2 professionals, then you have to understand our context. The context is, if you are led by good professionals, this is the conclusions, I want to be clear. If you have these areas led by good professionals, your injuries will decrease a lot. And the preparation and the bodies of your athletes or your players will be ready to face more and better efforts. This is the conclusion. Siga, Fábio. Perdão.
Importante. Como você falou, hoje os atletas são muito mais profissionais. Se você abre o Instagram, hoje em dia, todos os atletas estão treinando. Ou é na academia, ou com treino personalizado, ou com treino específico. Hoje em dia, todos treinam. Você falou também sobre a parte do atleta estar mais fadigado, estar mais cansado. É muito importante que o preparador físico conheça bem os seus atletas para, durante a partida, poder perceber o atleta que precisa ser trocado e tenha uma relação muito próxima ao treinador, a ponto de falar, ó, o atleta número 5 cansou. E é importante, o que eu costumo falar, por exemplo, dando o exemplo da seleção brasileira, Ramiro, nós trocamos de 4 em 4, geralmente, né? Trocamos quartetos. Mais importante do que o atleta estar preparado para jogar entre 2 e 3 minutos, é importante o atleta estar recuperado depois de 2 a 3 minutos para retornar jogando a 100% de intensidade, que o jogo é intensidade o tempo todo. O que existia, eu até brincava muito com o Júnior Negão, eu falo para ele, pô, aquele beach soccer que você jogava os 36 minutos, isso não existe mais. Não existe mais um atleta que fique 36 minutos jogando em alta intensidade. Não tem como.
Agora traduzco todo. I'm going to translate everything he told, but I will begin for the last words. Step also, everyone, we have another an exception in the world. But that's the joke. He talked about how the players take care about their preparation. In general, all the players around the world right now take care about their own preparation. I know we have no lot of countries with with clubs and national leagues strongly during all the year, or neither with a preparation of the national teams plan on the year. Then the players around the world, they have to take care about themselves. But in general, all of them currently are much more professionals than before. Obviously, they understand the requirements of the game. They understand the requirements the coaches will ask them to do. Physical, obviously technical and tactical also, but the physical, it will be inexcusable. You cannot forget that. Then Fabio talked about that and talk also about how important it is to know the players and the capacity of your own players. They can have the same training program more or less, but after that we have differences, and then we need to know what kind of reaction, what kind of efforts any player, the different players can support, can face on trainings, and most important also on competitions. Like he talked about the example of Brazil and how they change blocks of role players, and how important is not only to be able to support the efforts, how important is to recovery as quickly as possible to be ready for the next actions. Okay? Go ahead, Atsu, again. Thank you. Fábio, queria falar alguma coisa, perdão.
É lógico, como eu falei dos 36 minutos, mas eu conheço 2 exceções no mundo do beach soccer, que, como você falou, são o Ozu e o Catarino, né? Um da seleção japonesa e um da seleção brasileira, que conseguem jogar em alto nível aos 36 minutos. Só que algo que estamos falando aqui, cada dia que passa, o esporte está evoluindo mais e mais fisicamente, está mais rápido, mais rápido. Então, até esses próprios 2 jogadores que têm uma capacidade física acima do normal, né? Acima da média, você já começa a perceber que eles administram melhor isso. Passa a defender mais, e são jogadores que são importantes para estarem os 36 minutos na quadra, dependendo da partida, mas com a sua experiência conseguem administrar melhor isso.
Like always, like around the world, obviously Fabio talked about also another exception we have today is currently like Kata and Catarino. I was lucky because I can tell I play with both, and one of the short list of players that I can tell that play with both kind of animals, not players, because they are full athletes, both of them. Okay, but the thing is that they play, their bodies are ready to support the efforts and the demands and requirements of the competition, 36 minutes. But obviously, both Atsu and Fabio remain that the requirements and demands of the opponent players and of the dynamic of the game is high. How Atsu and Katarina, for example, and the players who want to play much more minutes can face it with experience, managing the time, managing the kind of efforts, managing the recovery time and the recovery actions during the game. But
Perfect.
the training and the match situations day to day are pushing all of us to understand that it's impossible, really, in general, impossible to remain playing 36 minutes in a high level match. Sure.
Yeah.
Go
Perfect.
ahead. Atsu.
Okay, we can go next slide. Okay, this study also compare the the beach soccer and also soccer and the futsal injury as well. And soccer obviously has head and neck injuries, and fall related damage is severe. And futsal suffer from knee injuries, and the incidence of ankle injury happens because of surface and the repeated change of direction movement that sports require. So we can say that all the beach soccer injury may not prevent because the player play barefoot. It is essential to be ready for the game with proper warm-ups, as we've been talking about. Good preparation is so important. And then let's go to the next slide. Okay, this is a sequence of warm-ups I usually consider when I warm up for the beach soccer. Okay.
Could you help me go back one slide, please? And I would like to ask, and I don't want to waste time. I would like to ask right now to talk about something and to let people understand how beach soccer has a less number of injuries. As in, it's not a thought, it's a fact. It's a fact based on the requirements of the different sports. And as you comment and explain before, the requirements in futsal, in soccer, and the requirements for your ligaments and for all your articulations regarding the kind of changing of directions, of jumps, of recovery, of blocks, then these kind of actions we have all the time. On omnipodal supports, we have all the time. Then rebalance your body. You have all time on beach soccer, and you have no that kind of impacts. Then it's a fact that on beach or in general around the world, we have much less level of injuries regarding these aspects. Let's only focus on that to know how important is also the prevention programs to remain with that kind of dates, obviously.
Yeah, I mean, the movement of the beach soccer is so similar to soccer and the futsal. We do a lot of agility, we do speed, we have, contact the body. And the main thing is we play on the sand. That sand actually absorb the force and power impact, yeah. And then that actually release some kind of like activation of the muscle, and then then it will actually as a result it prevent the injury. Then when I start to work the beach soccer, because people see the beach soccer, you see many contact, you see many like contusion, like whatever crazy the injury. But actually since I started to work the beach soccer, I don't see many injury. Then I looked at the research, and then research showed that same thing. And then like I said, sand absorb the impact of the movement. That's why one of the reasons beach soccer has a less injury compared to soccer and futsal.
Muscles, ligaments, and joints suffer much less on the sand. The surface, the sand absorb the kind of impacts that the match and the routine is required for you. Then it's obviously that. Okay, let's go. Good.
Okay, the sequence of the warm-up, the general movement, I make sure the players increase their body temperature and also the mindset by implementing some jogging, skipping, and shuffling movements, so the players can be ready for the following stages. And the next stage will be the dynamic stretching stage. And since players already warm up with some basic movements, it is vital to improve joint range of motion and activate muscle. Actually, with this stage 1 or 2, we can change it, we can switch it, depends on the weather. But since the Japanese beach soccer national team had a camp, it's kind of cold weather. So I made sure the players warm up with a number 1 general movement stage and then move to the dynamic stretching stage. But let's say the weather is 30 degrees outside, is 80% humidity, we can do dynamic stretching first because players already warm up. Then we can switch to the general movement, and then finally dynamic warm up and sprints. Okay, then finally for the dynamic warm up sprint, the main purpose would be to increase the heart rate and improve SAQ, which is speed, agility, quickness abilities. And also, I would like to finish the warm-ups with some reaction drills, such as sound and visual, to activate the total body sense. Because since our eye, our hearing is sense, they're feeling the sense of the ball, sense of the movement. So we have to activate those senses to be ready for the game. Okay, I will show you the video of the third stage of the Japanese national team actually do. Okay, we can go to the next slide. Okay, before the video, this is a good core kind of activation exercise that I like to do. The one player hold hand in front of his stomach, his core area. And then another player, which is me, is pushing, but he's holding in front of his body just without moving. And then he has to use a core muscle, and he has to use a hip muscle. And then this player is good relaxing the shoulder. If somebody have a tight shoulder, they use a shoulder muscle instead of the core and the hip area. So make sure we relax the shoulder. And then we activate the core and the hip muscle. And I usually push like a 10 seconds, let's say like 1, 2, 3, and 10 seconds. And then I move to the different direction and move to the other side as well.
On the line of the stretching you come before on dynamic line.
Yeah. Okay, we can move to the next slide. Okay, this is the third stage of the Japanese beach soccer national team do. And after they finish the basic movement and dynamic stretching, and then they will do the high knee and also shuffling with some like a kind of fast pace. The first stage, I do kind of slow tempo, but at the final stage, I do the more fast movement. So they're getting ready for the game level. And this is a side shuffle, the 2-step. And then make sure, the players relax the shoulder and also use the core and the hip area as well. And once I do the front way, I do the back way. So that activate the whole, body. Okay, and then make sure they relax the little bit and control the heart rate. And then next one, what I do is I do that like some fast step on the same spot, and make sure they activate the feet, because the feet is far away from the brain, which control the muscle. So make sure the feet is moving fast. They ready for the, some action for the game, game level. And I do some, a couple of drills. This is kind of high knee, so make sure they do the fast pace, and then, they increase the heart rate as well. And the last one, I usually do like a sprint drill, finish up with the, warm-ups. And then they sprint, change direction. That's so important for the beach soccer. And then the players, they start the movement with a whistle. Once a whistle, they start the movement. Yes. So that's a good reaction drill as well.
Auditive reaction, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
And of course, we do the right foot to change of direction and the left foot to change direction. So we activate the whole body to. Now this time, they're getting ready, like they're sweating, they increase the heart rate, they're almost ready. And then this is the final, should be the final one. And the first whistle, they start the high knee movement. And the second whistle, they start the sprint. This is a good reaction drill as well. Okay, yeah, this is the last stage of the warm-ups. Okay, we can move to the.
Let's make a question of Fabio also. Fabio, você, I'm going to do it in English first, sorry. I will ask him the kind of warm-up they usually do, what kind of aspects or factors, elements he could take in consideration, and also regarding prevention injuries, what specific details or aspects or matters could influence on us, like the temperature, like the humidity, like the kind of sand, deep or not deep sand. And also, I would like to comment about the level of the players, because we are here showing and talking full time about professionals. But we have to think that we have international levels, national level, that is not professional, and youths also, and developing programs. Then I'm going to ask him before and after. You can give up and add more information after you want. Fábio, eu queria saber pouco o que você acha desse crescimento também. Eu acho que é muito geral, podemos variar pouco os exercícios, mas a estrutura é a mesma, eu sei. Agora, aqueles aspectos que você acha diferenciais ou a ter a gente em consideração, como poderiam ser esse calor, a temperatura, você também trabalhou na Rússia aí, tomar cuidado com essas coisas, Brasil, Rússia, ou temperaturas mais diferentes, muito diferentes, a umidade também que tem aí, e depois também o nível dos jogadores. Não é o mesmo trabalhar o nível internacional, top, jogadores de seleção nacional, aqueles de nacional, os seus bons jogadores top do Brasil já são quase nível internacional todos eles, mas imagine aqueles que não têm tanto processo de treino, ou também aqueles processos que temos com as crianças ou com o desenvolvimento do esporte, porque aqui focamos só no profissionalismo na mais, mas também a gente pode ter consciência desses aspectos. O que você acha nestes termos que poderia aí comentar da sua experiência, por favor?
Claro. Vou começar falando sobre a parte final que você falou aí das crianças. Apesar de termos um foco profissional aqui na nossa palestra, né, na nossa conversa, para a continuidade, para o crescimento do esporte, é importantíssimo que aconteça esse desenvolvimento com as crianças, certo? Que a gente consiga criar mais ídolos, aproximar as crianças do futebol profissional, como acontece no futebol de campo, aproximar as crianças do beach soccer profissional, para formarmos novas gerações, tá? Isso é importante. Você falou duas coisas aí. Eu já trabalhei na Rússia, né? Você conhece São Petersburgo? São Petersburgo, o céu está azul, só que você pisa na areia e é impossível de frio, né? A areia queima de tanto frio, né? E já trabalhei na Itália, na Sardenha, já joguei Copa do Mundo em Bahamas, que só de você sair do hotel você já está aquecido, né? E você tem algumas coisas para se considerar aí. É o primeiro que eu acho super importante é o tipo de areia. Tem atletas que estão acostumados a treinar em areia mais dura, e dando o exemplo aqui de Copacabana, quando chegam aqui em Copacabana, treina um dia, no dia seguinte não consegue andar, porque a areia é muito fofa, né? A areia é muito pesada, né? No Brasil, a gente tem muito esse problema, né? Porque é um país muito grande, então tem atletas de outros estados, quando chegam para treinar em Copacabana, às vezes são convocados, quando chegam para treinar em Copacabana, eu tenho que diminuir o nível de treinamento para esses atletas, porque senão no dia seguinte eles não vão treinar.
Eu queria contextualizar tudo isso orientado a esse crescimento, a essa prevenção de lesões. Depois eu traduzco para todos. A influência que isso tem. Então, o que você faz nesses casos?
Sim.
Reduz o tempo. Então,
Vou falar a nível de seleção, tá? Quando nós vamos fazer uma convocação, o Gilberto já me passa alguns nomes que poderão ser convocados. E eu já começo a ter um controle desses atletas, mesmo que eles não estejam convocados ainda, nessa parte de prevenção de lesões. A parte de prevenção de lesões, o que acontece, Ramiro? Nós, no Brasil, não temos um calendário muito extenso, não temos muitas datas. Então, eu tenho que ter um controle, mesmo que à distância, dos atletas que serão convocados, com possível convocação. E eu tenho que estar controlando o treinamento deles. Eu tenho atletas já com nível internacional, como você falou, que se eu falar uma vez por mês, eu já sei o que eles estão fazendo, eu acompanho via Instagram, mas tem outros atletas que eu nunca trabalhei. Então, eu tenho que ter um controle mais próximo. E todos eles têm acesso a me mandar mensagem por WhatsApp, eu mando treinamento para eles. Isso acontece não só aqui no Brasil, tem atletas brasileiros que vão para a Europa jogar, né? E muitas vezes eles chegam em equipes que o treinamento físico não é tão importante. E eles me pedem para enviar treinamento para eles, certo? E eu sempre insisto nessa parte de prevenção de lesão, como o Atsu falou, essa parte de prevenção de lesão tem que estar presente o tempo todo, tem que estar na base da pirâmide, porque é isso que vai dar continuidade, entendeu? E nós não podemos deixar isso passar, né? Como ele mostrou aí nos vídeos, os exercícios são bem parecidos, né? Como eu falei, eu procuro usar sempre a bola nos aquecimentos. Eu trabalhei com o Paulo Palmati em Catânia, né? E eu achava até engraçado o Palmati, todo lugar que ele ia, ele levava a bola. Ele ia beber água durante o treino, ele levava a bola, ele não largava a bola de jeito nenhum. Não à toa é um atleta com uma capacidade técnica absurda, como você também tem uma capacidade técnica absurda, como você também gostava de sozinho brincar com a bola. E uma coisa importante que eu não falei, Ramiro, quando eu chego para trabalhar numa equipe, é muito comum o presidente da equipe, quem comanda, e falar quantas bolas você precisa. Se eu tenho 20 atletas, Ramiro, eu quero 20 bolas. Porque é importante essa parte de trabalho individual técnico com o atleta, tá? De estar sempre com bola. Voltando a falar da parte de preparação física, tá? É importante ver a temperatura. Se estamos num lugar mais frio, a atenção ao aquecimento tem que ser muito maior, né? Com parte de atividade de aquecimento articular, movimentos mais dinâmicos, tempo de aquecimento é mais importante. Se eu estou em Bahamas, meu aquecimento pode ser de 10 minutos. Se eu estou em São Petersburgo, meu aquecimento tem que ser de 20 minutos, mais adequado, né? Quando nós falamos de aquecimento, de alongamento, você falou um pouco da atletas mais experientes e atletas mais novos. Tem atletas mais experientes que desde há 20 anos eles fazem o alongamento anterior. Isso faz bem mentalmente para eles. Eu não oriento ele para deixar de fazer, mas eu oriento ele que ele pode fazer num menor tempo, numa menor escala. Então, cabe ao preparador físico informar o quanto a ciência veio mudar também a parte de preparação física e evolução do esporte.
Okay, let me translate. Okay, in general, Fabio talk about several matters. Okay, I will try to touch all of them. First of all, the youth's work regarding warming up is more a process, more educational process. Then we have to think about how it could help us and them to understand that that process is necessary to prevent injuries, to have better performance later on the skills we have to do. Okay, this is the first point. Second one, about the weather, about the cold weather, means you have to take care about the kind of efforts you require to the player. Then you need more time and you need to manage better or control better the kind of efforts, okay, and the duration of the efforts. Okay, this is important also. Another aspect, the kind of sun. The kind of sun involves control and manage the duration of the efforts. And we talked with Fabio and also Atsu will know that that is not the same, the kind of sun of Brazil, for example, Rio de Janeiro, I know it done from other sands around the world, from natural and non-natural sands. After you can find several places around the world, like in France, like in Russia, also like in Portugal, we have several amazing sands. But all of them are different regarding deep and regarding the efforts the sand demand and require from you. Then this is one more aspect that we have to take in consideration and we need to analyze and personalize. Okay. After we talk also about the level of the players we are working on, then it makes you think about if you can increase or decrease the demands you made them on the warming up and the duration and the recovery time between each of them. And as high level you have, as easier could be because the players are ready. Okay, but as low level you have or in youth categories, you have to take care about that. Okay. And also at the end, finally, we conclude that, as we told before, that the individualization of the process is the key. Then we need to customize, adapt to the different capacities of each players and the different capacities of the cultures, the different experiences of the players. It's not the same a player of 30 years old who have been working during all his career with a specific kind of works. You cannot change everything from one day to the other day. But obviously, as we are seeing today, and Atsu and Fabio is showing us, we need to explain also the players and show them the science, the evolution of the studies and the science and how it could benefit the players. Then will be also amazing. Thanks, Fabio. Atsu, manage again and give your opinion if you want, or go ahead.
Okay, I mean, we can move to the.
What you think about? Okay.
Okay, we can move to the next one.
Good.
Okay, Fabio, go ahead.
Ok. Nós temos aí exercícios que eu faço, né, de força, né, usando o cinto de tração. E neles, só no primeiro eu não tenho componente técnico, né, mas componente técnico com bola, mas vocês podem ver que tem deslocamento tanto de frente, quanto de costas, quanto de lateral, quanto deslocamento lateral e com o implemento da bola. Tem uma coisa muito importante,
in front, from
né?
back, lateral, both sides, and adding ball. Okay, the different movements the players do and the requirement and improvement of the strength structure.
Ok? Algo muito importante que eu falo e passo sempre nas minhas observações, nas palestras, é importante o preparador físico e os próprios atletas estarem motivando uns aos outros, falando uns com os outros durante os exercícios físicos. Tem um dos vídeos mostra os atletas fazendo o cinto de tração, seguram de 10 a 15 segundos, soltam o cinto de tração e correm uma distância de mais ou menos 20 metros, retornam, atacam de novo e retornam. Importante, quando eles vão correr à frente, eu falo para eles, ataca, ataca, ataca. Quando vai voltar, eu falo, ó, vem defender, defende, defende, defende. Perdeu a bola, defende. Que é isso que acontece no jogo. O nosso jogo, nosso esporte, é um esporte de atacar e defender. É um esporte de contra-ataques. Então, é atacar, perdeu a bola, defender. Perdeu a bola, recuperou a bola, atacar novamente. Perdeu a bola, defender. O nosso esporte é o tempo todo isso.
Okay. Talk also about wait. He talked also about the internal motivation, internal and external motivation, as well as the relationship with the game requirements regarding tactical moments of the game. That means the physical actions and efforts and requirements you are going to apply on the game, match situations, to do something, to attack, to score, or to defense, to avoid a shoot, to avoid a goal. And these kind of messages, this is the Fabio is talking to apply and try to let the players understand them and get the relation and the connection between the efforts you are working on and the match situations you want they run it.
Uma coisa importante que eu falo sempre, o jogador tem que ter a mesma vontade de defender do que a de atacar.
Obviously, it's difficult. It all goes about how important is the defensive actions and the physical requirements for the defensive actions. It's at the same level. Obviously, offensive. The players love, most of them, love to attack, but we need to increase and improve our defensive level. But also, we have amazing defenders, defenders, and not able or do not like a lot so much to attack. Also, at the moment, currently on the sport, we can also analyze this as a conclusion that we need players able and available to do everything, because the sport is so dynamic and the intensity of the game and the quality of all the players and all the teams to move the opponents make you be available to do that kind of efforts and requirements. Nice.
Uma coisa que eu sempre falo, por exemplo, você sai em velocidade, chuta para o gol, a bola vai para fora, por exemplo. Aí você coloca a mão na cabeça para lamentar, e esse colocar a mão na cabeça para lamentar é um segundo, 2 segundos, que podem fazer a diferença na hora de defender. E aí você acaba tomando o gol lá. Então, eu costumo dizer que o beach soccer é um esporte em que tem um botão que é atacar e defender. Atacou, perdeu a bola, é defender automaticamente. Não tem tempo para lamentações. Porque esse meio segundo que você perde lá lamentando, você pode deixar de salvar um gol aqui na defesa.
Talk about how important, obviously, the dynamism of the sport make you you must be ready to defense and attack quickly. ASAP, also the most important things for coaches in general, as the transitions, offensive and defensive ones, and the time you spend on that. But it's okay. It's a tactical. This is really for another meeting. Let's go, Atsu.
Okay, we can move to the next slide. I think Fabio, I think has one more video, I think.
Esse é um trabalho com mini band, é um trabalho conhecido de, né, todos os preparadores físicos usam, é um trabalho de prevenção de lesão. Né? Eu utilizo muito o mini band, ok, com movimentos dinâmicos. Nesse vídeo tem variações.
The prevention injuries exercises with mini bands, okay, different ones.
Trabalho de potência também, que eu uso medicine ball, com movimentos específicos. E ao final do vídeo nós vamos ver alguns trabalhos em que eu tenho salto, e eu tenho salto e saída em velocidade. Porque uma coisa que tem que ser, que é importante, Ramiro, o preparador físico tem muita diferença. Uma coisa é você saltar com a perna direita e cair com a perna direita. Outra coisa é você saltar com a esquerda e cair com a direita. Outra coisa é saltar com os dois pés juntos, cair com um pé só. Outra coisa é você saltar, cair com um pé só mudar de direção e correr em velocidade. Então, tudo isso pode ser treinado.
Fabio talks about the all elements regarding motricity can influence on that kind of process, and we can create also an amazing number of variation exercises. And we can see here some of them involved on the power, explosive strength, speed, and all of them. Okay? Mixing all the coordination skills that the player needs to manage. Okay, go Atsu, control again. Okay.
I think one more video for Fabio, I think.
Okay.
Tem mais um vídeo, um trabalho na academia, em que eu utilizo muitos saltos, né? Trabalho de força, seguido de saltos, e utilizo também trabalho de pliometria.
Okay.
O trabalho pliométrico feito no ginásio é muito importante.
Okay. There's no specific exercises on the gym, but also regarding jumps, plyometric exercise, and regarding with coordination also, and power strength. Nice. Okay, go up to
Okay.
level.
Okay, we can go to the next slide. Okay, this is will be the last slide for the information, the references. Then we can move to the next slide. We show many, not many, but we show some references. We show some researches, studies in this presentation. Then actually, when I research about the beach soccer, I put the beach soccer on the Google or whatever. I don't see many article about the beach soccer. But we need more research. We need more sciences to improve our nature of the sports. So I think we can have more fundamental of the good physical preparation, also the injury prevention. The Fabio showed a great example of the agility drills, power drills. We can actually put those exercise and research about what's so important, why so important, and how we do it. So like Ramiro keeps saying that players getting more professional, compared to before, but we can improve more, our sports. That would be the one of the method would be the science. So I think this is so important.
Sure. Yeah. Sure. Then brilliant, excellent. I could not have better words to explain how I feel after listening both of you, how I feel today during all this time. And now, after congrats both of you, I will ask you to remain with us also a little bit more in order to answer some questions. Okay, we have from some guests. Okay, the first one is from Rui Delgado, Portugal, our friend. Rui, good afternoon for you. He asked all of us, okay, he asked you, having referring the specification of the physical preparation. And as we know, not all the sands are the same. Nasser sand is is different than the sand of Moscow and different from Rio de Janeiro. Do you take that in count also regarding to the place of competition? Because players and teams adapt better to different kinds of sands. We talk about that, yes, for sure, is one key point. Fabio talk about that. Atsu, you want to add something else about the different kind of sands you can face and you can practice?
Okay, I mean, in Japan, generally, I think in Asian areas, the sand is kind of heavy, but once you go to Europe, once you go Brazil, North America, the sand is so smooth. So the it's kind of like a texture is so different. But obviously we don't have many opportunity to get used to the soft sand. So we have to go outside of Japan to get used to the sand. So that's Yeah. Okay,
It
go ahead.
would be very interesting to have the same kind of studies and investigations process in different scenarios regarding that kind of issues like weather, like sand, and the level players. Could be interesting in order to analyze the information. Yes, sure.
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
You know, I think the nature of the weather in Asia is basically the humid, you know, hot and humid. So that makes it different, yeah.
Okay. One more question by Mark Malta from Malta. Hi, Mark. Thank you. Would like to ask if physical preparation warm-ups will be according to the TA and technical tactical aspects of the coach. Fabio, also at this point, we talk about that because Atsu mentioned some comments from coaches and from Atsu today, who is the head coach of Japan. And also Fabio did several comments regarding the comments of Gilberto, of his head coach, in order to work and cooperate together. Obviously, I give the word to both of you, but it's related, the kind of exercise you do according to your knowledge, obviously, your competences, obviously, but also adding to the technical and tactical directions of and comments of the coaches, right? Atsu, please start you before.
Okay, I mean, you know, I've been talking with our head coach Ozu Moreira, you know, how he wanna, you know, team play, getting ready for the World Cup in whatever the competition. And one of the good point for the Japanese player is we have good agility technique. So we have, fast movement. We can have a good change of direction. So that's our strength. Then I try to incorporate those aspects to the warm up, make sure they're ready for what Ozu Moreira want to do for the team. That's, it's kind of incorporate the physical aspect with the technical, tactical aspect as well.
Ok, Fabio, você já falou antes, você disse, não? Concorda completamente com esses trabalhos, logicamente, entre a área da preparação física envolvida aí com a ação técnica e tática. Já falamos muito disso, mas só para você, se querer ganhar alguma coisa.
Sim, eu tenho uma relação muito boa com o Gilberto, né? Até porque eu também trabalho como treinador, não sou treinador do Vasco já há muitos anos, né? E nós temos uma relação de total confiança de um com o outro. Ele costuma deixar a parte física comigo, mas ele me ouve muito na parte tática, né? Até porque muitos dos jogadores da seleção brasileira jogam comigo no Vasco, então eu tenho uma proximidade muito grande com eles e sei o que cada um pode me dar de resposta. Essa relação treinador-preparador físico é fundamental para o sucesso do trabalho. Tem que ter um grau de confiança e de relação 100%. Isso é fundamental para o sucesso do trabalho.
Okay, Mark, both of them agree, get different experience, but Fabio added that obviously the relationship and the confidence between the people involved on the teamwork is very important to have a good successful. Okay. Last question by Paulo. I have no more info. I don't know where he's asking, but Fabio and Atsu, please, regarding the change during the match. Some players take more time to be 100% inside the game. We talked before also about that. Some needs less time. So when you change the 4 players at the same time, some players are not giving his best performance to the team. And in my opinion, you have to deal with that individually and manage the change according to these aspects. Can you please give me your opinion? As we talk also about that, and we are only talking about how we prepare the players and how we try to get the best performance of each of them and make them available for the coach. This is the job of your job, really. But any other thoughts about that, both, Atsu?
Okay, this is a kind of good question. I think this is so difficult to manage, but also so important. For the World Cup, because World Cup, we have many games in a short amount of time. Then we have to, some players play like let's say almost like a 4 game. Some, players play for less time. But I would make sure like checking their condition like every day. see how they're tired, how they feel, by subject to, question, also the object question. Maybe we can check the vitals such as the pulse and then make sure their condition is well. So if their condition is not good, so we can talk with the medical team and then we can do according to his, condition, I think.
Okay, Fabio. Non scritto. Perdon. Okay, Fabio, perdon. Wait a minute, let me check again. O Paulo falava também do que falávamos nós antes, da relação essa desses jogadores que não todos têm o mesmo nível para jogar quizás em blocos, mas já isso está na decisão do treinador, não? O nosso trabalho é preparar os jogadores, melhorar a sua condição para jogar o maior tempo possível. Também acordo já que a anterior pergunta linkava isso, não? O treinador já faz esse comentário. Eu vou jogar por blocos, quero que ele jogue um pouco mais, quero que ele jogue um pouco. Então a sua preparação já é um pouco mais personalizada, não?
Duas coisas importantes. O preparador físico tem que ter um conhecimento tático, né, para poder elaborar o trabalho. E se você tem uma relação de 100% com o treinador, você sabe o jogador que ele vai, o grupo de jogadores que ele vai contar mais, o grupo de jogadores que ele vai contar menos, e que jogadores serão importantes em determinado momento do jogo. Ramiro, você foi atleta e você sabe disso, você é treinador. Tem momentos do jogo, principalmente os momentos decisivos, que você sabe qual é o quarteto, os 4, 5, 6 jogadores ali que você pode contar, né? E aí, você conhecendo o seu grupo, conhecendo o que o treinador quer, você desenvolve o seu trabalho quase que personalizado em cima disso.
Ok. Bueno, Fabio talked about the relation between the coach and the physical coach, also the knowledge the physical coach needs to have regarding the tactics, regarding the thoughts of the coach, regarding the demands and requirements the coach is going to do to different players, because that is the information the physical coach needs to manage and agree with the player to increase his performance. In general, I don't want to finish the meeting before remember again how important and how beach soccer is good for the athletes' preparation in two aspects. First one, because we have no injuries. We have less level of injuries on beach soccer. The good preventive plans help a lot in general to all the athletes. But here on beach, we can add the fact that the players all time, full time, move on the sand. They are constantly rebalance their own body. They constantly are working on core at the end. Okay, this is one aspect I want to say. And the other one is to, and I want to ask your opinion about that. On the recovering process time from an injury recovery process, around the world, we can say that many programs include the sand exercises. Why? I think because all of us talk about that, because the less impact on the sand, how the sand absorb, how the sand provoke, rebalance your body, then it creates several contexts that help a lot on the recovering process. Then please let me know your point of view regarding this second point, and I will let you be free after that. Atsu, please. Regarding
Okay,
process recovery.
Yeah, so you want me to talk about why people use the sand as a recovery, right? Okay, I mean, like you said, the impact of the sand, sand, they absorb the, the impact. And also I think one of the reasons people like to do is because of barefoot. Because even, like not the non-beach soccer players, let's say soccer players, futsal players, they always wear the shoes. And they take off the shoes and then they do some rehab program, they do physical preparation program with the barefoot. and they feel comfortable, sometimes. And at the same time, they can actually manage their actually balancing, the exercise with the barefoot. I think that's a key. So let's say like beach soccer players wear the shoes, and they do some gym training. They have a good, balancing, the ability. I think because of they always play on the, unstable surface is sand. So I think the sand is really good for the, balancing exercise as well too. So once we have good balancing exercise, we can activating the core and we can activating the hip muscle. That's so important, body parts for any athlete. So that's why, people like to choose the training on the sand, especially after the recovery. Yes.
Yes, on the recovery process from other sports, futsal, soccer, basketball, anyway. Okay,
yeah.
Fábio, por favor, aí um pouco, você também a sua opinião, um pouco, dá para fechar. Porque eu salientava aí esses processos de recuperação após a lesão, que se fazem na areia. Nós temos o beach soccer, nós temos muito a mais valor do que ainda nós queremos, não? Porque o trabalho na areia de por si já ajuda muito nessa motricidade, nesse reequilíbrio, nessa propriocepção. Já fazemos trabalhos permanentes, qualquer coisa que você faz na areia, jogar a bola no alto já é uma ação motriz desse gente muito alta. Então, essas coisas, nesse processo de recuperação, eu vejo, conhecemos todos em todo o mundo, esses clubes e times de baloncesto, de futebol, de futsal, que recuperam os jogadores das suas lesões na areia. Então, é para saber um pouco a sua opinião a respeito disso.
A areia tem um desequilíbrio constante, né? Então, é propriocepção o tempo inteiro, é desequilíbrio o tempo inteiro, e é você fortalecendo as estruturas de tendão, estruturas ligamentares o tempo todo. Fora que a areia reduz o impacto totalmente. Então, nada melhor do que recuperar de lesão se você tem um terreno em que você não tem impacto e que você tem um terreno em que só o fato de você estar de pé ali, você já está fortalecendo ligamento, tendão e toda a estrutura que envolve as articulações. Eu tenho atletas que eu sou personal de atletas de futebol de campo, fazem às vezes parte de recuperação ou fazem uma parte de fora de temporada, bem fazer na areia. Aí eles chegam para mim e falam assim, cara, como é que os caras conseguem jogar bola aqui na areia, né? Porque o desequilíbrio é constante, é bem diferente. E é o que você falou, controlar uma bola no alto, ficar equilibrado num pé só, controlando uma bola no alto na areia. Então, o fortalecimento é muito grande. Eu tenho um exemplo aí, que é um exemplo conhecido do Júnior, que é um dos precursores do esporte, jogou futebol de campo em alto nível e nunca teve uma lesão mais séria, né? Porque teve toda uma base na areia. E estudos foram feitos até a parte de ligamentar, toda a parte estrutural dele era muito forte. E tudo se deve a por ter feito toda uma base na areia. Então, eu sou totalmente a favor. Traduz, por favor, que depois eu vou complementar.
Estou apontando, tranquilo, tudo.
E são duas, só que tem duas coisas diferentes, né, o Ramiro? Uma coisa é o atleta de beach soccer, outra coisa é o atleta de futebol de campo que vem fazer recovery no beach soccer, ou atleta de futsal. São terrenos diferentes. Eu sou super a favor do atleta de beach soccer de futsal ou de basquete, de fazer esse recovery. Mas a parte de treinamento específico, aí é diferente. Tá? Eu até sou a favor de, numa parte da pré-temporada, com um espaço maior de treinamento, você trazer o jogador de futsal, de futebol de campo, para treinar um dia na areia, mas como experimentar um terreno diferente, fazer uma atividade diferente. Agora, quando você fala de treinamento específico, futebol de campo é no futebol de campo, futsal é no futsal.
We talk about also Fabio talk about the rehabilitating process and also like Atsu talked before, various increase the sensitive perception through our feet and we on beach soccer on the sand on movements on the recovery process we are in constant imbalance and we have a less impact on our joints, our ligaments. Then for sure, at the end, we talk about that. It's different. The training process is something different, but the recovery process is also a big tool for us from the beach soccer and the walking and the training exercises on the sun. Then finally, I don't want to finish without use the sample of Junior you commented before, because he is as our mentor, as our leader. He was a good example because during his career on soccer, among 20 years, he never injured. And it was one of the reasons for sure, a lot of that. One of the reasons could be that he played on the beach from the very beginning age. Then it will be a good end of our meeting, finish with an image like him. And I would like to thank you very much. It was amazing to have the meeting with you, to learn with both of you, to listen your thoughts, you listen your comments, your experiences, your knowledge. And really, I want to thank you very much. And I want everybody understand how important it is to have people like you working on the beach soccer, because you make our sport bigger, you make our sport improve. And thanks, brilliant, excellent, Atsu. It was an honor. I wish you the best.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Fabio, un prazer ter compartido com você, um honor, uma honra. Parabéns.
Primeiro, muito obrigado a Beach Soccer Worldwide pelo convite. Obrigado ao Atsu por compartilhar comigo um pouco da experiência de cada um. E é um prazer enorme, né, estar compartilhando com você, Ramiro. Eu me apaixonei pelo beach soccer, ficando nas filas aqui de madrugada, aqui no Rio de Janeiro, para ver o beach soccer quando começou aqui em Copacabana. E isso foi em 96, 97, um tempo depois. Fiquei vendo o beach soccer como torcedor muito tempo, já trabalhando com futebol. E a partir de 2010, comecei a trabalhar diretamente com beach soccer e tive o prazer de conhecer você e tantos outros atletas. Então, para mim, é uma honra muito grande estar dividindo esse espaço aqui contigo. Muito obrigado mesmo. E só para complementar, Ramiro, eu sei que tem muita gente assistindo, muitos preparadores físicos. Palavras que eu acho importantes: criatividade do preparador físico, atualização e estudo o tempo todo. Hoje eu aprendi um pouco com o Atsu aprendeu um pouco comigo, eu aprendi com o Ramiro. Nós estamos sempre aprendendo. E especificidade, treinar o que a gente vai jogar.
Fabio, say thanks to everyone, obviously, to Atsu, to share with us. It was a pleasure also to Beach Soccer, to organize the event, to spread the knowledge around the world. Always a pleasure be part of that. And also with me, because we have also a relation and we are good friends. And because at the end, we are on the same family, the family of beach soccer. Then we wish all the physical coach around the world and all the fans and media could understand how our job is going to help the sport, how we try to be professionals in order to support the development of the sport. Then encourage anyone who can join us in the physical area to improve, to learn, to share, like we did today, to make studies, deep investigations, okay, and to go together. Once and the last, thanks a lot, all of both of you, and goodbye, everyone. We wish you enjoy the meeting. We wish you learn a lot as I did. It was a pleasure and honor. Take care. Bye bye.
Bye bye.
Bye bye. Thank you.
Thank you.
See you.
Bye.
ありがとうございます。